It's time for you to look inward and begin asking yourself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want?
I watched a lot of cartoons as a kid on a lot of different channels, from the superhero shows on the Kids WB.
Water, a superhero's best friend.
To Pokemon, to a little thing called Avatar: The Last Airbender. An absolutely amazing experience of a cartoon that I just loved watching. But when you watch things as a kid, you don't always get to experience the full show because there always seems to be things that you miss. Little Easter eggs left for the older people watching the program alongside the kid.
I have this tiny, little.
So when I saw that The Last Airbender was coming to Netflix, I figured it was worth a rewatch to see if I should pick up on any themes that I missed from when I first watched the show. Avatar: The Last Airbender is an American anime created by Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, and written by Aaron E. Haas. The show would run for 3 seasons from 2005 to 2008, have a sequel series, a bunch of books, a really terrible movie, and some other media. One of the highlights of the show is the characters, as just about every one of them is extremely memorable. From Aang, the titular Last Airbender, who has to save the world from an all-powerful antagonistic nation, to his 2 best friends and allies, Katara and Sokka.
This is Appa, my flying bison.
Right, and this is Katara, my flying sister.
These are the first 3 characters you meet in the entire show, or at least the ones that'll stick around, and from the first episode alone you start to grow an appreciation for the characters. The brother-sister dynamic between Sokka and Katara is wonderful, as they both play their parts really well. As the series progresses, the group begins to expand with more and more characters coming into the fold, with the first edition being Toph, a blind badass who can bend the ground beneath you. Other memorable characters include the exiled prince of the Fire Nation, Zuko, his inspiring uncle Iroh, and so many more. I mean, this show has so many incredibly quotable side characters, it's kind of outstanding.
My cabbages!
There's no war in Ba Sing Se.
The action in the show in the beginning is on par from what you would expect. There isn't anything that'll take your breath away, but like I said, it's what you would expect from a cartoon on Nickelodeon. It's good, it's consistent, but nothing that'll take your breath away. However, in the 2nd and 3rd season, there are some really pretty fights, especially in the fights between Zuko and Azula, and the fight between Fire Lord Ozai and Aang. The fights aren't on the level of something of Saitama versus Boros, but they are exceptionally pretty. The story of The Last Airbender, it's not a very complicated one, but it still remains rather enthralling. For the majority of the show, it's just the adventure of Aang becoming the greatest bender of his generation. Or at least the generation that currently lives. He is over 100 years old. The general flow of the show is that the group has an adventure, they fight Zuko, they meet a new character, they fight Zuko, Aang learns a new bending ability, they fight some Fire Lord person. Now, there's a lot in between all that, but the general ebb and flow of the story for a large chunk of it's like that. It feels very similar to the Monster of the Week style of TV programming, where there would be a thing to do or enemy to fight one episode with little to no further connection with the rest of the story. There is the presence of the overarching villain, Fire Lord Ozai, but outside of comments here and there by characters, the magnitude of Ozai isn't felt until the last season. Heck, he doesn't actually show up until season 3. Which brings me to one of my 2 biggest criticisms of the show. Fire Lord Ozai isn't that interesting of a character. In fact, he's pretty generic overall and doesn't see a lot of character development in the show itself. Now, the comic books do expand on Ozai, and they make him seem more interesting as a character, but general viewers shouldn't have to go through other media in order to properly experience the main villain. Ozai's biggest villain moments are burning his son's face and being a tyrant. The other issue I have with the show is its use of Deus Ex Machina. For those unfamiliar with the concept, it's essentially the get-out-of-jail card for television and film writing. The show seems to go to the well a couple times with these Deus Ex Machinas, including the concept of energy bending and the avatar state. Overall, I really like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm really glad that it's on Netflix now so that other people can experience it for the first time. If you just finished watching it for the first time and you stumbled on this video, I'm eager to hear your thoughts. And for those who have seen it before, let me know, let me hear your thoughts as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.
My first girlfriend turned into the moon. That's rough, buddy.